In this season where we are so connected and disconnected, we are craving that connection. And I think that this industry provides human connection that can serve the future of retail.
Welcome to Shift, an exclusive podcast by DSN. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and this is where high-performing entrepreneurs and experts share their most powerful shifts in mindset, skill set, and strategy to help you accelerate your business and amplify your impact. I challenge you to be present, open your mind, and let the shift begin. Welcome to Shift. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and today's guest has one of the most unexpected and inspiring paths I have come across. From performing in the Broadway tour of Annie, I can't wait to get into that story, as a preteen, to building a multi-million-dollar business from home, Theda Blackwood is living proof that reinvention is possible in every season. She started her professional journey in interior design, but when she became a mom, her priorities shifted, tends to happen. Wanting to stay at home with her son while still contributing to the family, she'd started to dip her toes in direct selling, and what started as a side hustle has now transformed into an absolute calling. She's been a top seller, top recruiter, right? Consistent leader across every chapter, earning countless awards and accolades. But what she's most proud of isn't on the leaderboard. It's the trust that she's built. It's the relationships that she's nurtured. And it's her ability to stay grounded through any and all of life's circumstances. I really love her approach to mindset. She doesn't take things personally. She doesn't let setbacks define her. Instead of getting discouraged, she doubles down on action and activity. She's learned to lead consistently and realizes that it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up again and again. And her success is proof that progress, not polish, is what really moves the needle. So please welcome to the show, Theda Blackwood. Theda, how are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the patience. I know we've been wanting to get together for a while, so I appreciate the flexibility. So I have to tell you, I just took my family and kids to Annie last week.
Did you really?
Last week. It's here in LA. So it was the first time. It was my wife's favorite, musical growing up, and she was super excited. So we literally just saw it. So you were in Annie on Broadway?
Oh, I was in the Broadway tour for 2 years. I started off as an orphan and Annie's full-time understudy, and performed 8 shows a week before child labor laws. And then Martin Charnin, the director of Annie, called me one day and asked me to play Annie in the first national tour. So I was on tour again for another year and got to see 30 cities in 2 years.
I mean, what an experience at such a young age. The soundtrack's still stuck in my head a week later, so I think my kids are still singing.
Yeah.
So from Broadway, interior design, I think a little pharmaceutical sales, and then into the crazy world of direct selling. Give us a little bit of the backstory.
Well, so, the Annie thing was all my doing. That was, my idea. I found out that I could sing in 4th grade and somehow or another begged my mother to be in the Little Miss Virginia Beach pageant of 1977. And my mom literally said, "What are you going to do for talent?" And I said, "I'm going to sing." And went off to audition for that, ended up winning that pageant. Now, that was before, it's not Toddlers and Tiaras. It was not like that at all. But anyway, I won, and I ended up doing public appearances around the city of Virginia Beach. And all of the adult actors and actresses said, "Take her to New York, take her to New York." And I'm like, "Mom, take me to New York," not really understanding what all that meant. So we made, and my mother, I have to say, she empowered me. She helped me with my dream, which I am so incredibly grateful for, because I was an only child. I still am an only child, but I was able to, my parents were able to support me on this journey, which is amazing. I ended up making a tape of my voice in a 8x10 glossy and sending it to 12 children's agencies. And literally 4 days later, heard from one of them. And that's how that started that journey.
Oh, wow.
What I didn't realize is that that career would prepare me for direct sales. I know this sounds really weird, and you'll follow the journey, but
Mm-hmm.
I was treated like a celebrity at age 12, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also experienced being Annie's understudy and being a full-time orphan before taking on the role of Annie. So
Mm-hmm.
I understood, oh, you're just the understudy or you're just an orphan. And then understanding when I became Annie, I really wanted to make sure that the orphans,
Mm-hmm.
felt like they were not separate from me. That was like a little bit of an introduction to leadership and a little bit of an introduction to walking the stage, not being afraid to present in front of thousands of people, all the things that I would go on to do in my direct selling career. When I got off tour, I was ninth grade, wanted to be normal for a few years, went to college at Virginia Tech and studied interior design. I blame that on the fact that I was inspired by my mother's yellow shag carpet to not have yellow shag carpet. And decided that I'm very visual, I'm very artistic, obviously. So practiced interior design for 10 years and became the director of interior design for an architecture firm.
Okay.
So again, another leadership role, and that was at the age of 25. After that career, once I had my son, like you said, I did not ever imagine wanting to stay at home. I was a career woman. I loved making my own money and having my own things and all the things that come with it. Um, I was a partner of the firm, and luckily my husband got transferred. We were able to readjust a few things, and I was able to stay at home and had my two kids.
Mm-hmm.
But the monotony of being a stay-at-home mom, and it's the hardest job in the world. It's hard. Sometimes it's easier to go to a job in the office because you don't have to do all the things that you're doing at home. The monotony of it, fixing breakfast, fixing lunch, cleaning up, fixing stuff, just all the things. It's just very monotonous. I wanted something of my own, and along comes my path. Um, the opportunity to join a direct sales company and see if it would work.
But just to backtrack, because I like a little more context, 26 years is a lot of moments, right? And I know the success that you've achieved, right, in various seasons. But I also know to achieve that type of success, you also have to go through the challenges, right? The struggles, the valleys. Take me to like maybe two moments, like kind of a top 5% moment, a moment where like, man, this is working. This is the dream. This is it. And then take me to like a bottom 5% moment, like one of those moments maybe you don't talk about and kind of what you learned in there. Would love kind of those two references.
Yeah, absolutely. So top 5% I remember being recognized as one of the top leaders in our company, even surpassing some women who were direct to the company.
Mm-hmm.
That was a realization moment that I was like, oh, I can do this. I am talented. It's not just where you are, because I know there's a lot of stigma in this industry of being direct to a company, right? And I've done that too, by the way. But in that particular company, I was not direct to the company, and knowing that I could achieve a high rank, even ahead of some women that were direct to the company, was just like a wow moment, because I thought that you had to be first in,
Mm-hmm.
first in to be able to achieve those amazing ranks and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Bottom right, bottom. Oh my gosh. I'm on my fourth successful direct sales company.
Mm-hmm.
The lowest of low is being told your company is closing.
Mm-hmm.
The organization that you have built for years and years and years and built trust with your customers and your team, to hear that three times in my career is not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And you question sometimes whether, and there were times that I questioned, am I staying in this industry? But I keep falling in love with it. I do love this industry. I love everything, the flexibility that it gives, the independence that it gives, the creativeness, the constant learning, because I have sold different things at each company. I've learned so much, and I've learned so much about people.
Did I hear 3 times you were with the company that closed, that like went out of business?
That is correct.
So it happens in business, in all businesses, right? Businesses start, businesses stop. In this industry, when that happens, it has such an impact, right? Because we're all tied to community and relationship and trust. I navigated my first company when I was a distributor, also went out of business. That's what kind of put me on the other side of the ownership side of the industry. But I don't think I've ever interviewed somebody that had that happen 3 times.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy?
So let me go deeper there. What gave you the emotional charge or drive to actually do it again?
It's several things. It's loving this industry, loving the flexibility. Like when you really, when doors close and you think, I'm not going to stay in this industry any longer, what is the other opportunity? I mean, I can go get a job with some boss and their idea of what I need to do. If you're a true entrepreneur, you kind of don't want a boss. So I'm like, okay, well, what else could I do? Well, I could do real estate, but I really don't want to work nights and weekends. I want the flexibility to travel with my husband, to travel to see my kids or my future grandkids. I want that flexibility. When I really looked at my options, this was the best option, and it kept my family together. And I say family, the relationships that I've carried with me over 25 years. There are women that I absolutely love working with, and we have worked together for years, and we can't imagine not working together. It's a relationship business, and and I also love helping women. It is so much more than just selling product. It is literally the ability to influence women, to help them with their confidence. And I say help them with their confidence. It could be their first sale and then getting somebody confidence. It could be learning a new skill and gaining confidence. It could be learning an industry and gaining confidence. It could be whatever product you're selling that benefits somebody's life, that can help them with their confidence in whatever realm of help your product or service is providing. And I think that if you're really looking at how you can change lives, it's more through this industry than just having a job.
And I think everybody listening can relate, right? So what I'm hearing is kind of, you said why, right? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And we're all taught, right, to kind of stay connected to the reason why, right, we're here, and why we're a part of the community we're a part of, and why we're bringing our product or service to the world. And, I'm hearing, kind of paraphrasing, like, the entrepreneur freedom, right? For you is, you're an entrepreneur, you wanted the freedom. I'm hearing relationships. You use the word family, which I love, right? That it's real relationships, real family. And at the end of the day, like, what matters more, right, than the people you want to be around and that make you better. And, I'm hearing purpose, right? For you, it's women and empowerment, and you light up when you talk about that. Like, you could tell you're genuinely passionate. And for others, it might be that same passion, or it might be something different, but it is a purpose, right, that drives us. So I love that. Let's go a little deeper, because like this reinvention conversation, I think, is relevant for now. We're in a season of shift. Yeah, kind of pun intended, right? I mean, across the channel, across the world, you've had to reinvent, right? We're forced to reinvent, and I think it's important to highlight, like, you didn't choose to go another direction or join another company. You were literally
Right.
forced out when the doors shut, but chose to continue to begin again.
Mhm.
What advice would you have for someone who's kind of in a reinvention season? What they were doing, right, isn't where they want to go. They know there's more, they want more, they deserve more, and they know they have to do some sort of reinvention to pursue it. What guidance would you give that person?
I've done some things I feel like pretty well through those transitions and some mistakes perhaps too. But I think when you're reinventing yourself, and unfortunately, if you're listening to this and you are in that stage where you have to reinvent, I would give you encouragement that reinvention is okay, that it actually is. Um, so one thing that we can count on in life is change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's change that we don't invite into our world. We don't invite change. But I do believe that when something happens, when life happens, when change happens, you might not understand what you're going through. And I know that sounds really cliche, but a lot of things have, like each closure has created reinvention, which has created new opportunities to reach different people that I might not have reached before with a previous company. It's widened my circle. It's given me access to more people in different segments of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's given me more wisdom to appreciate what I have now.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And I didn't know what I didn't know. When we're young, we don't know what we don't know. I am 58. I am, I've experienced a lot, and I feel really blessed to have a lot more intuition
Mm-hmm.
and good decision making at this point. And I hope that this is my last company. But if
Mm-hmm.
I were forced to reinvent again, I know that I could do it. And it's also given me the confidence to realize that after building 4 successful companies and organizations, that I honestly I feel like I do know what I'm doing. And the first time that you're successful, you might feel like, okay, well, that was like magic in a bottle. But after you do it again and again and again, and you can build successfully again and again and again, you realize that maybe this is your calling.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is what you're meant to do. And it's a people business. And I think if you love people, you love helping people, this is the right industry for you.
Well, I think you're spot on and beautifully put. Like reinvention is a necessity, and every, leader I've seen, not just in direct selling, but successful entrepreneurs, they've developed the ability to kind of begin again and again and again without kind of the loss of enthusiasm. But I love your perspective of looking at, okay, well, what do you gain from this? What's the positive that comes? How can our past be kind of preparation, right, for what comes next? And I think that matters, right? To kind of choose to see the opportunity and not get stuck in what was lost, right, or what was behind us. So I think that's awesome perspective. I know that you've shared that kind of consistency is one of the necessities or kind of secrets to your success. Can you kind of go deeper there of like, what does that even mean, right, for you? And what guidance can you give for someone that's maybe, not so consistent today or not as consistent as they'd like or we'd all like to be?
Yeah, I mean, consistency does mean a lot, and it means a lot as a new entrepreneur, and it means a lot as a seasoned entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
for a top leader. We've all seen top leaders get lazy in this industry as well. So, I think what is important to me is integrity,
Mm-hmm.
integrity to show up for my customers and to show up for my team and to show up for my company. Now, is the company hiring me? No, this is a volunteer organization. But if I'm passionate about the brand that I'm representing, I need to show up like a CEO.
Mm-hmm.
To treat yourself like a CEO of your business. I remember in my first company, we probably had 10 reps on my street. literally on my street. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is too saturated. And what I came to realize is that, certain people are going to be attracted to me, certain people are going to be attracted to other people, and it's fine. We all go to different religious organizations, churches. Our kids are different ages. We're in different sports. Was I even best friends with these 10 women on my street? Well, maybe we were acquaintances, but maybe they weren't my best friends, right? It made me realize too that I needed to be the best at my job. Like, I want to provide the best customer service. I want to provide, the best support that I could for my team or whatnot. I've learned that showing up every day and some basic time management has been crucial. I mean, I've been able to run this business with an 18-month and a 3.5-year-old to being an empty nester. And they're both just as hard, because as an empty nester, you have all the time in the world. You could not show up. As a busy stay-at-home mom, you're working in small pockets, and you might be even running from, your kids while you're trying to conduct a phone conversation. They're both really difficult, but showing up every day and always building new customers, always building new relationships, always building, relationships and adding new team members is what I would say has contributed to my success.
What would you say are the things that kind of get in the average distributor's way when it comes to consistency? What are the things that kind of you see when you're leading your community, you're leading your team, that are kind of the things that stop people? And how do you coach them through it?
Life happens. And a lot of times people completely take their foot off the gas when in their business, when life happens. It's so easy to hear, and I hear this from team members, well, this happened, and it's going to take me a while to get back on my feet. Well, if you work a job, if you go to a job with a boss, they might give you a few days PTO, but you're going to have to go back to work eventually. And that's why traditional businesses are successful. People go back to work. Indirect sales, I feel like people try instead of commit. I see people give themselves permission because there is that flexibility to I'm going to take a little, I'm going to back off a little bit, or I'm going to not try as hard. And those are some of the obstacles that I think get in the way of true success in this industry, is to, just take your foot off the gas. And yes, we have the flexibility to take our foot off the gas when life happens. My son's getting married this next month, and I am going to enjoy those few days off. But after that, I mean, it's back to work, and it's still, I'm working up until the wedding. It's a little bit of time management, and it's a little bit of just discipline to do the things, to show up every day, and to always and consistently grow your network, because you never know who you can help.
And what guidance do you give if those things are kind of like stopping somebody from doing the things that they want to do? Maybe they don't have the confidence that they need, and how do you help someone that's in kind of that stage?
I think what I like to do is, I think everybody has some hidden talents, right? Talents that they had in a prior job, perhaps, that could relate to this industry. Somebody who was good at their job. Now, it could be a teacher who was good at teaching and doubts herself in this industry, but yet she could be teaching people about her product or whatever. It's the same mindset. It's finding out and diving into what somebody identified with before, and what their successes were in that job, that can, if you can think about that and how it can relate to this industry, you can feel like a success here too, because you rely on that past experience of the successes that you've had. If it's a nurse, for example, they're very caring and nurturing. Oh my gosh, they care about humanity so much. They want to help, right? And this industry can help a lot of people in their life circumstances, in their finances, in their relationships. This world is a pretty lonely world. It's getting lonelier where we don't have as much. I mean, we're so connected, but yet we're so disconnected, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we stare at our Instagram and our TikTok and we feel like we know these people on the screen, but are we really having these real conversations and real relationships? And I think that what this industry brings is that connectivity.
Do you think this is something everybody can do? And how do you feel when someone's going through a season where they're just like, "Ah, I don't know if I can do this"?
If there is a big enough why, they can do it. And I say that, it's something we talk about in this industry all the time. But, if someone is needing $500 a month,
Mm-hmm.
$100 a month. I mean, like it was me when I was my 22-year-old self and I needed $50 for parking because my budget was that tight.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, if I can only make $50 a month, that can make the difference, right? So if somebody has a reason or a why they want to do it bad enough, they can absolutely do it.
And I agree, and you got to get to that point where it goes back to what you said earlier, right? You kind of are aligned or connected to kind of why you're here, right? Why you're doing this, and how do you use that to draw kind of the energy, right? The desire to move forward through all the stuff and all the circumstances that all of us inevitably go through. So I love the perspective on all of that. So for everybody out there, we are in a season of shift, right? But there are some amazing communities and amazing brands, and while our industry is going through an evolution, I do think that there's also huge opportunity, right,
Right.
for community marketing where we're at. And I know you have kind of an interesting vision on kind of where you see the future of direct selling going, and kind of maybe it is like the future of retail. Kind of pull out your crystal ball. Like, where is the opportunity? What can that vision look like? Like, where is the upside and the timing for all of us right now?
I get so excited. I think that this industry is the future of retail. Why? Because big box stores are struggling, right? You look at anything across the board, and there's a lot of empty malls, there's a lot of empty strip malls, all the things. So retail is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the fact that you have to have a storefront and inventory and the leases and all that stuff. Now everybody's tried to take e-commerce because of that. They're trying to take e-commerce off the charts, right? Well, e-commerce is great. It's easy, it's fast, but do you get the customer service? Do you get somebody who knows you? It's like going into your corner store and you know the person who owns the store. You get service and you get superior products from this industry. And I believe that in this season where we are so connected and disconnected, we are craving that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this industry provides human connection in a way that can serve the future of retail.
I love that. And I agree 1,000%. And it is our differentiator, right? At the end of the day, community and relationship is what makes us different than any other distribution channel, right? Or brand out there. What are you doing to double down on that, right? So when it comes to you and your position, right, today, and, leading obviously a large growing community, what are some things you're doing today, right, within your team or guiding your team to kind of maximize the opportunity that is today?
And one of the mantras that we have on our team is to get in front of more people, connect with more people. Connection or conversations are currency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if you're just posting and ghosting and posting about your products and selling through social media, that's not true connection. That's not truly serving and helping people with their problems. And I truly believe that if we focus on solving people's problems through products or through our company or through our opportunities, we are going to succeed. and succeed big. And that all comes from a servant heart as opposed to a selling heart.
Hmm.
We are in sales, but my perspective is I don't want to sell you something just to sell you something. I really want to help you. And what can I help
Hmm.
you with? How can I serve you? And that creates lasting relationships with trust, integrity, and will grow your business because you're coming from a place of helping.
I love that. Intention matters, right? So, like, at the end of the day, we're moving a product or a service. It is by definition sales, but I love how you're highlighting it's the energy behind it, the intention behind it. If it's not just about the
Yeah, and
bonus
that's
check, it's
and
about
that's for
helping.
people. Yeah, for people that say I can't sell,
Hmm.
that's one of those roadblocks or obstacles that you hear all the time. And it's when you take yourself out of it, when you really truly are thinking of like, how can I serve instead of sell? Then it becomes so much easier. And once you can make that flip in your mind, again, mindset is everything. But when you make that flip in your mind, I think that's when you can become wildly successful in this industry.
You mentioned some big words in there, and I've heard it throughout our conversation: trust, right? Integrity, really being aligned, right, with what you're bringing to the world. Leadership. What does that look like today, right? What does trust and integrity look like when we're leading people today?
Part of it is consistency and consistently showing up. Like if you're in direct sales and you're new to this industry, you have to show up with your brand, and you are the brand, not necessarily the company. You've got to realize that you are who people are attracted to. So they might be attracted to your humor. They might be attracted to your candor. They might be attracted to how methodical you are or how fun you are. It does not matter. Everyone in this industry can attract their people. But the trust and integrity comes from showing up every day.
Mhm.
And that means in your unique way. You don't have to be me and you don't have to be you, like you, Blake, but like you can be who you are authentically and show up and attract your people, whether you are 58 or 28, whether you are 88, it does not matter. You're going to attract your people. And I believe that you just have to show up as authentically you and show up consistently in your business as if you are the CEO of that storefront down the street and you show up and you open your doors every day.
I love that because it is about kind of not what we say, but what we do, right? That example we set. But I love how you're kind of tying to how we show up and to also being authentic, right? Being who we are. How do we know? Like, especially in a world of like social media where a lot of the conversations, you said conversations are currency, a lot of conversations today, they begin right on online or on a social platform. And I know a lot of leaders are doing exactly what you're saying of bridging it into real connection and community and relationship. But in a world where we're like that conversation begins online, what's the difference between showing up as us authentically, right? Or showing up, I guess the opposite would be inauthentic. How do we know?
That's pretty easy actually, because inauthentically, and I've received these emails or social media DMs
Mhm.
before when my companies have closed. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your company closing. Check out this opportunity. Or, you know what, you're so good at what you do. I'd love to share more about this product, this service, blah, blah, blah. That's inauthentic. I recently received a DM that somebody said, something like, you'd be so good at what I do. I'm like, I don't even know what you do. And I don't even know what you sell. And how do you even know that I need it?
Mhm.
Because we haven't had a conversation. And that's when I say conversations are currency, not in a like transactional way, but truly like get to know people way. If you
Mhm.
know who people are and how they show up and what's important to them, then you know how you can serve them. Or if you can't serve them. So when I say conversations are currency, I don't mean like a conversation equals cash. I
Mhm.
just mean it means I'm going to find out what drives you, what your talents are, what you're interested in. I'm going to get to know you. And by getting to know you, and that is the biggest compliment that you can give someone is your time, um, and your investment in them and that relationship. And if you can find some common or something that you can help them with, great. If not, they could be a great referral partner. You just have to look at that trust and authenticity as relationship building, more so than transactional.
No, I love that. And I'm feeling this kind of reoccurring theme you keep touching on, which is like, you just got to genuinely care. You gotta be a good person here to serve, right? With that intention. And if that is real and that is true, then that's going to come across, right, in your content and you say like your DMs and your questions, because you are really trying to meet a need, right? Trying to add value as opposed to just trying to sell or trying to transact. So, I mean, I think that's a good check for all of us, right? To kind of just ask ourselves that question. Is that how we're all showing up, right? With our conversations and our DMs and our content? Is that the real intention behind why we're doing what we're doing? Because if it is, the energy will come across. I want to be mindful of our time. Theda, I know you've shared a lot. I also want to save time for anything that we haven't covered, right? That you really have on your heart that you want to share. So before we get to kind of like closing thoughts or anything else we want to get to, can we do like a quick rapid fire? It's like a rapid fire round. Can I ask you just three? So these are three questions. I've asked similar questions to most guests. And it's really because I'm genuinely interested like in these answers, right? So the concept of shift is beyond just the season we're in as a world or as a channel, but it's really down into what you're giving us in today's conversation. It comes down to a lot of the mindset shifts or the perspective shifts that we have to choose to embrace to move us to our next level. And in today's conversation, you've already given us a lot of kind of your internal mindset shifts that have allowed you to become who you are today. So I'm just going to ask you three rapid fire, no right or wrong answer. First thing that comes to your mind in like a few words or like a short sentence. But it's really around that concept of some of the most significant belief shifts, right, that you experienced in your journey. You went from telling yourself one thing to telling yourself another, and that made the difference. Maybe starting in kind of like your professional career. So if you look at those 26 years, what's been one of the most significant shifts, right, that have allowed you to accomplish what you've accomplished so far?
Not giving up on an industry and, an industry that I believe in so much, that has given me so much. I would say shifting of not giving up. Yeah.
Second question, same question, but just on your personal life. So business aside, right? Theda as a human being, as a person in your journey and all the things, right, that have come your way and you've had to navigate. What has been some of the biggest or one of the biggest mind shifts, right, that has allowed you to become who you are today?
I'm laughing because singing The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow for 8 shows a week, for 2 years, probably helps form my mindset. I am eternally positive. The sun will come out tomorrow, right? I am eternally positive. I truly am. However, life does send you in, it sends you a lot of surprises. And one of the other shifts that I would say that I realized somewhere in my first successful company, and I read it in a book, and it might have been John Maxwell or it could have been John Gordon, and I can't remember right off the top of my head. But your thoughts become your words, become your actions, become your habits, which become your destiny. And if you allow yourself to think defeat, if you're allowed to think scarcity mindset, if you say things like I can't, then what is the outcome? You can't right now, or it's not working yet, are big words to me that can make the shift to turn it into something more positive as to defeat.
Powerful. I love that. And last one is kind of a more aspirational, visionary question, because I do love the direct selling, right, channel. Just like you, I've been involved the same amount of time. I'm in my 26th year. And, I often think that there's really not a more powerful global community of people
Mhm.
than if you were to somehow kind of harness the power of every single direct seller and every single company brand community around the world. I mean, it's a massive community. So my question for you is, if you could wave a magic wand, you could snap your fingers, and you could give the gift, right, of a single mindset shift to everybody in our channel across the world instantly, what shift would you give them?
There are so many people. When I hear that there's not enough people, when I hear there's not enough customers, when I hear there's not enough people who want to join, when I hear the scarcity mindset, it drives me absolutely bonkers because we know that I mean, if you just simply take a little bit of logic and a little bit of faith and, put those two together, logic says, how many people are in this world? And
Mm-hmm.
how fast can you get to them? How, like, there's so many people that don't know about what you do. They don't know about the product that you are selling and providing. They don't know what service you can provide, and they just simply don't know yet.
I love that. And it is a big place, and there are so many people we can help, and there is room for everybody. And if we all had that abundance mindset, right, together we would rise.
Yes, we do.
This has been, we've covered so much, but I want to leave room for anything else you want to share as far as kind of closing thoughts. But I know anybody listening has already gotten value, regardless of where you are on your journey, whether it's drawing inspiration kind of from your story and being willing to begin again, 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 and again. And in all of that, right, really learning the power of reinvention. And we can not just look backward, but grab, right, the lessons and bring them with us into what comes next with kind of a positive mindset, and a preparedness. I think it's an amazing story. You've given us all a reminder to reconnect with the things that matter, right? Our why, our purpose, the thing that moves us, and kind of the reason why we're all doing this, and to do it with the right intention. I love the serve over sell, right? Because if we show up the right way, we are authentic, we are ourselves, and that energy can be transferred. And some great tips on how to kind of overcome the stuff, the self-doubt, the perfectionism, and really pursue that consistency that does build that trust, and does allow us to lead with integrity. So, I mean, amazing lessons for everybody, whether you're leading a massive community, right, or on the way to doing so. But anything, Theda, that we haven't covered so far, anything left on kind of your mind or your heart that you wanna share before we round out today's conversation?
I'll just say, since this is an audience of people who are maybe new to this industry or seasoned, as far as the new people go, I would just say, just meet more people. Find people that you can help serve, not sell to. Stay consistent. The social media today, I would say, it's your marketing budget. It's putting yourself out there, but the post and ghost and just letting people know that you're consistently there. That's letting people know that you're consistently there, but or consistently there. Having the conversations and interactions with people. I said this before, the conversations are a currency, not a transactional currency, but truly it can lead you down a path of finding out more about people. If you're not a people person, maybe this isn't your industry, but you know what? If you're interested in people, if you're interested in people and what they do and what makes them tick, that is going to serve you so well in this industry. If you're a little bit seasoned in this industry and you've experienced a recent shift in your company or business, my heart goes out to you, because it's really, it does kind of suck the wind out of your sails temporarily. But I would encourage you to just keep going and keep sharing. And if you have been successful in this industry, you can continue to be successful in this industry.
Well, beautifully put. And I know conversations like this can give everyone listening the fuel, right, to go through whatever you're going through and get access to the next level that's waiting for you. And I hope today, if you're listening, you got value. It's something that you can re-listen to a couple times, let all of the different insights kind of sink in. Obviously, not only today's conversation, but all of our Shift conversations you can find on Spotify, on Apple, or my favorite, find your way over to YouTube, where you get a chance to watch us and be with us and see Theda and her amazing glowing bright pink and smile and energy. And as always, if you got value, one of the greatest gifts that I believe you can give to others is a shift, right? An impact, because you never know where that individual is at in their journey, and just the right shift at the right time can be exactly what they need to kind of unlock, right, that next level for them. And you can be that gift by sharing today's conversation and others. You can find all of them at shiftpodcast.com. Theda, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for being a light. Thank you for taking time away from your family and your team to pour into us today, and everything that you gave all of us. And, a reminder that no matter what season we're in, no matter what chapter we're on, the sun is always going to come out tomorrow. And I think that mindset is going to be with all of us. Thanks for your conversation today. So appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, let's make the shift.